Welcome to Whatif tutorials. In this tutorial we'll be looking at activity templates in the project costing module. Activities are added in the project costing module, and each of these activities receive costs of materials, labour, overhead, subcontract and other. You can create templates for an activity if that activity is required over many projects or is repeated over projects. Then it is a good idea to create a template for it, which saves having to recreate all of the details, costs of that activity every time if they are much the same every time. So that's what an activity template is. In this tutorial we'll be creating activity templates, and I'll be referring you to other tutorials for the details of adding costs of materials, labour and subcontract costs and other costs to the activity template. I'll be referring you to these previous tutorials which covered that subject when those costs were added in the actual project activity. So we're actually going to be doing the same thing here, and rather than go through it in detail, I refer you to these previous tutorials. We will touch on it, but we won't go into detail. Having done that, we'll then go into the process of using those activity templates to create a new activity in a project. Okay. From the main project costing menu, click Activity Templates, Create Edit Templates, and here are some templates that have been created. I'll run you through these ones that have already been created, but before that I'll just touch on cost drivers. Each activity template has its own cost drivers. You can add drivers as required to the template in the same way as you do in the project activity module. So there's the cost drivers, then there's the bill of materials. I'll go to this template here, the bill of materials. We have one item in here. If we edit that, we can see that it's based on a driver quantity of 1, the job driver. We could have used another driver, but we didn't. So all of this is covered in other tutorials. I don't want to waste your time going over the same thing again. So that's materials and labour. In labour costs for a template, we have an operation within a work centre with a job driver, and we have the labour rate coming in from the work centre, the overhead cost coming in from the work centre, and so we have our labour and overhead costs for the template. Finally, we have the subcontract and other costs. In this example, we've got one subcontract operation and then one other operation. Looking at those, we've got the same structure here. We've got an operation, we've got a driver, and quantity and cost. Okay, so this is where the template is created. If we were to go to create another template, we click Create. Okay, simply enter the description. It can be specified to a customer, but usually not. The factory is selected. And okay, in a description, okay, enter some long description instructions if required. Okay, so that's a blank template. Then you go about defining your cost drivers, as I just mentioned a moment ago. Add more drivers to that. Okay, with the quantity of the driver. Okay, close. Then, having got the drivers, we then go and add our materials, select the materials, put in the quantity per driver, and so on. So that's how we build up our template costs for labour subcontract. Alright, so at this point then, having created an activity template, it's available for use in projects. So let's just go through that process. We go into the project master file. For this project, we'll go into activities, and here we have all the activities in that project, starting at the total and then coming down through headers to detail activities. Each item, each detail activity is shown there with its costs, material, labour, subcontract and other. So what we're going to do is to add an activity by copying from a template. So click Add Activity, and we're going to say it's a detail activity from a template. So we say OK, yes. We select the template we want. Let's select this one here, or maybe this one here, number 24. We use it, copy 24. And you'll notice here this particular activity which we're creating from the template is linked directly to the total project. It hasn't gone to a header. If we really meant to attach it to a header, we can cancel that, select a header, say header 2, add activity, add a detailed activity, copy from a template, select the template, use, copy, put in activity code, put in a description, select the timeline that defaults to the activity, the project timeline I should say, that is the project timeline. So we're now creating a new activity with maybe a new timeline, and these are the project markups, and these are the costs which are going to come in from that template. So we say OK, we can put in a long description. That was the description on the template. We might want to change that or leave it as it is. OK. OK. Create another template for header 2? No. So we've now added a template, an activity I should say, copied from a template. That's this one here, the total cost of 507,000. Now, when we copied that template, it copied the cost drivers. So those two drivers there were copied in from the template. So it's really complete. And all that's need to be done now is to perhaps revise the drivers and then possibly refer to the bill of material, maybe add or deduct, maybe add some operations in the labour and subcontract, maybe add another cost or something. Yes. Okay. And the timeline. Okay, so I've just rushed through this because most of this has been covered in prior tutorials, but all we've done is to create a new activity by copying a template. And that concludes this tutorial.